Kielty, plumbing, heating, cooling, celebrating 15 years of bringing comfort to you. Feeling realty, call RJ Kielty, they'll get your system working to cool you down. And if fixing a leak is what you seek, RJ Kielty service is the best around. RJ Kielty, plumbing, heating, cooling, over 50 years of bringing comfort to you.
Hi guys, episode 5, Kielty's Korner, and we have a very, very special guest. She's very, very dear to my heart. I'll start off with a little story. So, our shop used to be on 52 in Chicago, and Tammy came in, and she just wanted something so small. I think it was like $20 or something, and we gave it to her, and I have never seen somebody with so much gratitude to do that small amount to her. That, I mean, that just goes to show the type of person. It doesn't matter what somebody does for you, you know, you are super grateful. It doesn't matter the amount. And then flash forward here now, I don't know, 12 years, something like that, or maybe longer. Time's flying, but the amount of work we've done together and the amount of people that you have touched and continue to touch in our community. And I don't think enough people know about it. So
I appreciate that, Tanner. I'll never forget that day. And actually, we were kind of reminiscing about that. We had stopped by to drop off the PA system, and Crystal came out.
Yeah.
And I said to Doug, I said, you know, I'll never forget walking into the building on 52, and Crystal and Tanner just embrace what we do at Kiddy Up, and, you know, just to be able to partner with staples of the community like your family. I mean, you guys have been such an intricate part of what we do, and the support from supporting children to the events. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, you guys say, you see RJ Kielty plumbing and heating. Oh wait, it's way more than that.
yeah, no, and it I don't know, just like something like that, you know, you could just like bond with somebody. I felt that, where you could feel the wholesomeness, the genuineness of a person. And I don't know, I'm grateful that I met you, and together we've been able to help a lot of people of our community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tell everyone though, like, what is Kiddy Up? Like, tell everybody about it. This is an opportunity.
So when I met Tanner, it's grown tremendously since then. You know, Kiddy Up Ranch is a non-for-profit therapeutic riding facility and learning academy. And when we started it, it really was with just the disabled, I don't say just, but the disabled child in mind. I had volunteered at a ranch, and I was in the business world, and, you know, did banking and payroll and all of that. But I knew that God had called me to something way bigger than that.
Of course.
And so through volunteering, I met a little girl named Teresa Godney. And since then, Teresa has passed away. But when I met her and I did my very first therapeutic riding session, and this was with no experience, I literally was a volunteer and a sidewalker. I just knew that this is what I was supposed to do. And so I ended up, you know, Googling and watching YouTube videos over and over and over again to find out more about this wonderful work. And then I ended up, you know, going back to school and getting certified. And it was through my internship that I met a man, Patrick Finetta. He's actually one of the starting people of the Equestrian Special Olympics. He said to me during that time, he said, "Girl, you need to open your own thing. You do not fit in any box that I've ever seen, and you certainly don't know what a lid is."
Yeah, I 100% agree.
And so I started with $500, a barn that did not look like it should have any kind of therapeutic riding sessions going on at the time. And my brother and my mom and 5 farm brats from the other place, we just launched it. And we outgrew that within a year. And then we ended up on 10 acres, and then we had to make the big move that we've made.
Yep.
But since then, you know, one of the things that I've learned through my journey with Kiddy Up is that everybody has a special need. It's not limited to a physical disability
Correct.
or to a cognitive or intellectual disability.
Mm.
Everybody has a special need. And so we've really become very multifaceted on what we do. And what I mean by that is, you know, of course, we have our kids with cerebral palsy and Down syndrome and autism, but we also have the kids who have been human trafficked in our community.
Mm.
We have kids who have had trauma, kids in foster care, kids, you think about COVID. We have 2 and 3-year-olds who have no social skills because what were we told to do? We weren't allowed to socialize. So what about all these children that were born when COVID came? All they knew was the people that was within their homes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's a big side of what we do now that really has gone beyond, you know,
Right.
what we started with.
You know, it's funny you say that about the kids being born that time. I'm not saying I'm coining this phrase, but they're going to be called the forgotten generation.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they don't know how to socialize. And it really, truly has affected, I think, even the kids middle school and high school. It's just it's a different conversation. And although they were always on the phone and all that, that's truly the social skill as well.
Yeah.
So I never even thought of it that way. To just bring people together, being around your animals, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what I love, and you talk about, you know, everybody that you help, but I also see it in the barn brats. You know what I mean? You bring them in and teach them these kind of life skills that I think our society has gone away for, and I know you've helped a lot of them, you know, as well. And I think that doesn't go forgotten, but you know, that's just another piece of the puzzle that you do.
How do you do for volunteers? I'm sorry. I was gonna say, how do you do for volunteers?
So what you're talking about is the barn brat.
Yeah.
And, you know, some would hear that and go, oh, that's just a brat. It's not just a brat. It's
Right.
an acronym, and it's bravery, responsibility, accountability, and teamwork.
That's awesome.
And truthfully, before Kiddy Up even started with therapeutic riding, the brat was in place. That was the force behind helping getting Kiddy Up started. And so now I'm going to be 52 and I'm on more generations of barn brats, and the generations have changed. You know, kids who were so eager to have a driver's license at 16, they're not so eager in today's society.
So true.
You know?
It's so odd to me.
Oh, it is.
Like, I was like begging my dad to go get my license. He had like PTSD because my sister took like to get it. So he was kind of like waiting, and I was just like, literally, I'm like, Dad, I'll do anything. I'll pressure wash. You know what I mean? And nowadays, like, they don't care about that. I mean, and that's kind of sad because that's a freedom.
It really is. And, you know, one of the things that I have to say, my husband, I wish he was here. He is he is just
how God brought you guys together.
He is truly not only my partner in life, but, you know, just such an intricate part of Kiddy Up. He's the wave that you'll see when you come into the fire. But he is just as dedicated to that generation too. You know, we have 14-year-olds that can drive a tractor better than most adult men that I know. But it's all part of that generation. And, you know, it's not an easy because we do put them to challenges that show their bravery or give their opportunity and their responsibility. They're also accountable. They, you know, we hold them accountable for their grades and teamwork. You know, not everybody that comes to the farm do they like, but life is you're going to work with people that you don't always like, you know, so you have to learn to navigate through those relationships. And, you know, I've always said, people will say, what's your vision of Kiddy Up? Like, well, I can't contain my vision. My mission is way bigger than my vision. And so, you know, the mission is to find the ability regardless of a disability. So I want to know what the ability is. I want to know what you can do, not what the world has said that you cannot do. And that's educationally, cognitively, intellectually, physically, whatever. I have Jeffrey who rolls in on a wheelchair and he will take out that blower. He will blow everything he can. He will do everything that he
That's
can.
amazing.
And that's what we want to focus on, you know, is what can you do? What part of you can we make great? Because we want you at the end of the day to.
The life skills that you were just talking about, they do not teach that in school
No.
at all. And it's necessary. If anything, you should be almost an appendage of the school system to teach people, you know, teach boys how to become men and women how to, you know, little girls how to become women. That'd be
And it's important to do. We cook with them, we teach them to clean. You know, we have a separate part of the house that the barn rats a lot of time will stay during the summertime. They have to make their bed in the morning.
nice.
They have to do stuff that they're going to do when they
It's the age, certain age, so you have
So 14.
okay.
14. I have kids now though that are 11 and 12. I just
Let me tell you how much that just warms my heart. Honestly. Teaching kids nowadays, that stuff has been lost.
You know, those kids are going to have such a leg up, Tanner,
Yeah.
by having those skill sets.
I'm gonna put my kids, you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to.
you know, that's,
Yeah,
you know, my family's from, North Dakota and stuff like that. Me personally, I was born here, but, you know, the life skills that my father and, you know, especially my mom, you know, the love for horses, the love for a farm, it just teaches you so much.
It does, and that I think that is also a separating moment at Kiddy Up.
Mhm.
You know, people who come will say, "Oh, you know, we're just going to ride." No, we go beyond
Yeah.
the saddle because we want the kids to, and I say kids, but even at 80, they seem to be our kids. You know, because we just embrace everybody there. But we teach them that responsibility. You know, you need to take care of that animal. You need to groom that animal. You need to learn all the parts of this animal. You need to be able to tack this animal, you know. And by the way, that's regardless if you're walking in or rolling in.
Yeah.
Everybody's part of that. And so that's a very important part. We don't ever want it to be, I don't want to use that word entitlement because it's so used out there, but that entitlement where I'm just going to come in and just get on a horse. No. Our participants show up in the rain.
Yeah.
Because what is life? Do you come to work when it rains?
You have to.
Absolutely.
People have needs, they have emergencies.
100%.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to ever go through life and have to cancel an appointment because it's raining outside. Show up. We're going to do things. There's so much more than just being on the horse that we're able to teach. And those are the things that we're instilling.
And those kids are going to have such a leg up in life that they don't know that the work that they're doing now is going to propel them in life because they're going to be a lot different than their generation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, you know, going through after COVID, I wrote you a letter.
Yeah.
And I said, Tanner, there's a need in the community, but I need to be more educated to fulfill this need. And so the Kielty family supported my education for that year. And I did exactly what I said I was going to do. And I told Tanner, I said, this is not for Kiddy Up. This is for you to help educate me, for me to help the kids of Kiddy Up. And he wrote that check and he helped me pay for those extra certifications that I needed to get. And that was so I was able to understand the social and the emotional side of the things that we're dealing with a little bit more.
That's the stuff that your family's fantastic. You're fantastic for doing that. But there's so many stories like that where he has helped so many people. You'll just never hear it, but that's who they are. At the end of the day, the branding's fun, the marketing's fun, the podcast is fun, but he always says to me privately, it's got to be more than just business. We got to be able to lift others. We got to be able to do these things. So yeah, it's
Honestly, I love business, but it's a vehicle to be able to help people. Yeah, it is. And the same thing, whether it's somebody that works here, you know, making their life better, that's what fuels me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Creating opportunities, you know, everybody's different, but creating opportunity for somebody, making their day better, showing that there's more to life. I mean, that's it. I mean, no BS. That's what I really care about. The other stuff will come, you know what I mean? But if you do that and you care for people, your life opens up.
Yeah, and you know, as a leader of Kiddy Up, it's important. And as you know, Tanner, as a leader here, we have to give ourselves that fuel so we can keep feeding
Right.
the community of what we need to do. If we start getting stagnant and stale and we're not seeing a life change, I always say anybody who comes to Kiddy Up, they've come here for a reason. And so the fun part is figuring the why out. We know what's going to happen, but we need to know the why behind it.
To the public out there, that also doesn't mean bombard Tanner now with requests for lots of things. Because the truth is this, it is bombarded. I get to be a small part of this company, and the ask is large because there's a big need in this community. And at the end of the day, the company has to be successful and thrive in order to do this. So that's why when we say, hey, help us market or help share our page or help this, it feeds all these other programs that no one really knows what we're doing. And I think that's why it's important sometimes to talk about some of these things because people need to realize what we're doing or what you're doing.
And I think God brings those people into your life.
All day.
And like the story I said in the beginning, that was us being connected together. Yeah. It's not something where some people I just need this money and they don't want to do the work like you're training brats and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And that's why I gravitate,
she's a worker. And we don't even know each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honored
to meet you, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're a genuine individual. Yeah. I said the same thing. Bill had Bill Hoops last week.
Yeah.
And even though Bill has come to meetings and around, that's the first time I actually sat down and had some kind of conversation. You just feel something different when you meet with people. And he told me, he's like, wait till you meet her, bro. He kept saying, wait till you meet her. Yeah. So this is awesome. So we'll get this. Well, I want to get this out of the way now. How do people get a hold of you? How do they get in touch with you? Email, text, Facebook, how do we get a hold of you?
So Kiddy Up on our website, we have 2 numbers. So one is mine, which I do a lot of the informational, telling about the different programs that we have. Our veterans program, horse-powered reading and math. We have kids that cow sort, and they do it all there.
Every time I talk to Tammy, I find out more and more stuff that it does, and it's just it wows me.
It's amazing. But our website, and then there's a scheduling line number on there too. Over the years, we've been able, because of our certifications and the education behind us, we're able to do things now that we weren't able to do, like the Step Up Gardner Scholarship. We were able to accept that. We take CMS insurance. We're able to help kids on that side. So we have some avenues for kids that are in need of services that we offer that can get covered by the different avenues that they have. So our veterans come for free. Every Tuesday morning, if there are any veterans out there, we have coffee and horsemanship. We have Coach Randy, who is straight from Montana, Wyoming, Wrangler, advising. Yeah. He's super cool. He actually runs our barrel racing and our Wranglers program, which is teaching kids how to be Wranglers and work a ranch one day. So he runs that, and he's a veteran himself. So that is a growing program, which we have seen. And like I said, they come for absolutely free. So, but yeah.
Do they take you up on it? Because how you just offer things and then people don't show. Are they taking you up on it?
They do.
That's awesome.
We have 3 to 4 that come each and every week. And, it's amazing to see. We had one gentleman who was a veteran, Mr. Jim. He came, and he actually started with the mini because he had a fear of horses from when he was younger. But his goal was to go on this trip to a dude ranch and to go trail riding.
He must have watched City Slickers.
You know what? More like Yellowstone.
There we go.
I can show my generation.
So successfully, he was able to go this past year and walk, trot, canter, go through. I mean, we can't contain him at the ranch anymore. I mean, he's just off. He comes in on Tuesday morning, he saddles up his horse, and he's going. He loves it, and he's come so far.
So the horses are donated as well, a lot of them? Or
we do have horses that are donated, and we have horses that have been purchased. Here's the thing with being so multifaceted now. So I have the therapeutic riding horse, which is going to be your more slow go, who can tolerate pretty much anything. But now I've got kids who started with me with therapeutic goals who are now running NBHAs and, second in the world in their division, And so our herd is so diverse because the population that we serve is also so diverse. But we have, horses that have been with us for years and may not be able to do a therapeutic riding session anymore because of arthritis or ailments, whatever. But we use those, in our life coaching session where there is no riding involved. It's just them being able to, do different things with the horses on the ground, and we use a lot of the minis for things like that, and the horses that aren't, rideable, if you will. Yeah.
So, and a lot of people don't know this, and I was even wild last time I talked to you because I know one of the ranches. I don't know if they sold or stopped doing what you're doing now, but how much people do you serve at the ranch? Right
now, we're over 160 kids a week.
Isn't that not insane?
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these are just parents dropping them off, school dropping them off, like where the majority of them
most of them have appointments.
Okay.
Except, our veterans, they come on Tuesday mornings. We have 2 safe houses that come. And so it really depends on what it is. I do the equine assisted life coaching. So I have a group that comes every Tuesday for that.
We can hold a meeting out there just to show everyone.
Yeah, no, seriously. We try to have,
Yeah.
I like to have our events out there just to bring people there.
To see it.
Because once you see that and see what they're doing,
Yeah,
and
you
talk
need
to
that.
Tammy, talk to Doug,
Okay.
it's a game changer.
We're gonna set that up.
You know?
We're gonna get a
That would
meeting.
be awesome.
Bunch of business.
Yeah, that'd be,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We teach music and movement. My program director, Warren, is a music major. And so we just incorporate, the animals in it, the history of the animals, the history of the music. She's doing story board music now with them. She started that yesterday. So we do horsepower, reading, and math. We teach self-efficacy, which a lot of people don't even know what that word means. And that really is having the ability to problem solve. There's so many things that, that are out there, but we neglect to teach them how to solve a problem on their own. Like we always want to just jump in because we're not patient enough to wait or to give them a skill set to be able to solve or.
The kids are taught to get an immediate answer now. Because of the phone. So if they don't have an immediate answer, they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
And it's not the kids' fault, it's our culture's fault, honestly. Yeah, it's
our fault.
Yeah,
It
it's
really
parents'
is.
fault,
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
It is. That's, I mean, off task, but not perfect learning lesson for your boys and for your daughter. Learn from my mistakes, 10 years older, whatever, 15 years older. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because they are so reliant on that mechanism.
Yeah.
And then when you take it away, it is a nightmare. It's
Yeah.
like something shut down and you can see the addiction.
I have those struggles right now. Really, really against it.
Yeah.
I try to push them away because if especially my 5-year-old now, if he's on it for more than
whatever.
5 minutes, he gets agitated too. If you try to take it away from him and stuff like that, honestly, I don't believe in it. I think we have a world, we have the outside. I think we were born to be outside.
You're still in a good spot though, because it's the iPad, it's like watching their cartoons or whatever. But it's the next level when it goes to the social media and they're so dependent on what their friends are doing every day, just as much as we are aimlessly scrolling on Facebook, and it's shame on us. It's really worse for the kids because it's like, our generation was, what are the Joneses doing? But for them, it's what is all my friends doing? It's a different world. It really is. I don't know how I would have done it in today's world.
So change is a big thing too.
Yeah.
People don't like change. That's something that we practice at the ranch is change, because we'll have parents that'll say to us, we don't, my child doesn't do well with change. At the end of the day, it's the parent that hasn't done well with change.
Correct.
The child will do, and we practice change. So we actually changed our whole dynamics of the way we do things so we could incorporate change. So we do sessions in 10-week sessions. So it's easier for us to monitor progression, but we can also make it change of horses, change of instructors, change of days, change of times. Things change. It's the only thing that's ever going to be consistent in our life is change. As we've seen a change in the way society is today. We don't like it. It's not all about the way we think it should be, but it's a change, right? But we need to practice that change.
Have you recognized, you must have, less and less, I guess, active parents? Like it's more of a dump off versus being involved?
I think that's a hard thing to answer, because where you might have a parent like that, you have another parent who is working their tail off. And it's not just parents, let me start there. It's caregivers too, because we have a lot of kids without parents. We have a lot of kids who have seen the most horrific things in the world that you and I would never put our head around and wonder how in the heck this kid's doing it. But, it's hard, because I think the parents need just as much of encouragement, and they need just as much therapy sometimes, but may not always have the resources to do it. It's easy to say, it's real easy for people to say, the parents are the problem. I think sometimes they just have a lack of tools and resources sometimes to be able to equip them with some of the things that they've also been presented with.
That's how I feel too. It's easy just to blame the parents, but what those parents have been through to get to this point. I mean, if it happened to me, you know what I mean? It can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And it alters their life.
Yeah, and if you have a child, especially, take one with a physical disability, we have them for 45 minutes. I have a lift that lifts them up and puts them on a horse, right? And we do our thing. That's 45 minutes that we have them for. They have them all day, every day. And the one thing that the parents don't get, they don't get the break. They don't get the retreat. Now, where there is a big deficit is in people helping with, even your kids who are, I say kids again, but that are outside of, the realm of going to school over 18. That's a big mess in the community right now. Trying to find those avenues for the, adults with disabilities to have an outlet to be able to do things. I can promise you one thing, almost every single child that I meet has something inside of them that wants to do more than what they're being told that they can do. And trying to find those outlets for them to be able to do more is where we need to create more space.
Yeah.
And then the parents would then have those times to also get healthy.
Yeah.
And to feel good about themselves.
Yeah. Now, honestly, like I said, I couldn't imagine. I complain with my kids running around crazy and, trying to contain them and, having 3 now, complaining about not sleeping sometimes with the newborn, but that is nothing compared to what those.
It's a blessed life compared to, that we get to deal with life that way versus what the other parents have to do.
And a lot of people, including myself, I complain a little bit about it, and it's.
Of course we do. It's human nature.
Yeah.
We're humans.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
I know, but you got
It's our problems.
Yeah.
It's relative to us, right? And but then if you're from your side, you're like, it's not so bad.
That's not
because you see it all.
That's how I feel.
So you see a lot of basically desensitized kids, right? Like they must have, because they've seen the worst of the worst. That's so sad.
We have kids of all walks of life, from fetal alcohol syndrome to cerebral palsy to a broken heart, human trafficked. I don't think people realize today, that movie came out and everybody asked me, did you go see that movie, Miss Tammy, about the child that was human trafficked? And I said, no, I didn't. I didn't because I see it every single week at my ranch. I didn't need anybody to tell me the story. I see it.
Yeah. They tell you the story? Like, do you hear the stories, or do you know you're like, I don't want to hear them?
I don't ever say that I don't want to hear it. I don't ever respond to it. And most importantly, I don't react to it. So, because that's not my lane. My lane is to give them a great experience through therapeutic writing. And I leave that side of it. Now, if there's something that could be harmful to them or hurtful, then I definitely go to their leaders and their organizations.
Did you feel that? Or, but then obviously the trust value comes with that. Or do you feel that they might lean on you for things that like you just said, stay in your lane, like they lean on you because they had built this trust with you and you're like,
They do, and especially the horses.
right.
Especially the horses, because the horse doesn't care about where you've been. They don't look at you and look at any brokenness of your being at all. They are the most forgiving and in tune animal that we'll ever know. I mean, dogs and you know are like that too, but if we could only know what the horses have heard.
Yeah.
They know all the secrets.
Yeah.
It's an animal, but there's a connection.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. And horses will tell us stuff too. You know, one of the things that I studied through, you know, going through the additional education was, you know, that human and horse behavior, you know, and watching the horse's behaviors in response to the human behaviors. You know, you have to pay attention why a horse might be incongruent to somebody. What's happening? Well, maybe it's because that person's not all together today. And that horse feels that.
Yeah.
You know, there's that direct connect.
Wow.
And so they feel that. And our encouragement is that when they're not in the right headspace and they're just frustrated, take a moment. You know, let's just breathe and then let's go back to it. You know. But for the girls who have been trafficked, being around a 2,000 pound or a 1,100 pound animal and teaching them boundaries and not to be in your space and to how to lead this animal, it builds their confidence up.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches them that what was so scary in the world that we live in today may not be as scary. It teaches them patience, you know, and being able to navigate through some things a little bit better. You also get to see kids who have been abused. You get to see all of that toughness that will come up with them. You get to see that kind of deplete because you watch them now being a caregiver to a horse and grooming them, attacking them, and just brushing their hair and taking care of them.
Those walls just coming down.
Just literally just melting away.
How many of the kids, I mean, I'm sure they get obviously attached to the animal and then, you know, program's only so long. Do you find a lot of people calling you after and say, how can I get back in the program? Or can I just come visit?
All the time.
I bet.
Yeah, and one of the things that I have to say that I love, just like you guys have relationships with customers who have been with you for so long. I have people who've been riding with me for 13 years, you know, and the two things that training doesn't prepare you for, or didn't back then especially, was the loss of a program horse and
Yes.
the loss of a child. I have been to way too many funerals than I ever thought that I would ever go to in my lifetime of watching children die. That's terrible. And you're not trained for that.
Yeah.
So Teresa, let's go back to where we started. Teresa's family to this day still comes to the ranch because they said that's her place, and it is her place. Every day when I feel discouraged or there's somebody else that, you know, that I just need to remember my why, because we all have those days, right? We all get up sometimes and we're discouraged. The world's coming at you. The feed bill's way more than I ever wanted it to be. She sits at the helm of my barn. Her picture sits at the helm of my barn. And I look at her and I just, she's the why. And her why has expanded on children at risk, pediatric cancer, you know, physical disabilities, intellectual disabilities, which has truly brought us to that inclusional place. You know, when I started Kiddy Up, it was years later, my mom found a book report that I wrote in 6th grade. I wrote about Kiddy Up. So God had placed it on my heart way longer before I ever knew that that was God's plan for what I was supposed to do. But since then, you know, having all of these kids, we have a new show series called Kirby, Kiddy Up Ranch Beyond Inclusion Equestrian. Because a lot of people don't know in certain competitions that you have to either be just physically disabled or just and intellectually disabled.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about her. Yeah,
So
we talked about it.
right. So what about the child who is visually impaired, but they're not intellectually disabled?
Right.
What about the intellectual disabled but wants to compete with their friend who's just physically disabled? What about them?
They get excluded, which in my opinion is the wrong thing to do.
It is, and you
I
can't.
get that some places have to create parameters, but in the end, it should be what's best for the kids.
Yes.
Right? You know?
So we created Kirby, and we are so excited about it. Our first show, we had over 30 riders of all different walks, and it is a place where we get to bring everybody into the same arena, and they get to encourage each other and be a part of competing with each other. We have a girl now, and I've done a video with her, so I can tell her story, but she came to us because she had fetal alcohol syndrome. And so she was about 8 years old when she came to us. Adopted, grandparents had adopted her. And she ventured off, and we did our first English show series. Was not Special Olympics, wasn't Paralympics or anything like that. It was just a regular show. I'll never forget her mom saying to me, "Can you tell them, so she can like read the patterns before everybody else? Like, can she get that extra help?" And I said, "No, she's gonna figure this out." And she did.
Wow.
And she figured it out, and she started watching people going in front of her, and she started getting there a few minutes earlier and reading the patterns earlier, and not
Doing the work.
doing the work.
That's awesome.
Now I get to watch her be an instructor. Now I see her in college
That's cool.
going to be an occupational therapist, and just being able to watch that process, and to see that if we would have focused on what the disability was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Gotta have the right mindset.
That stuff hits me.
Yeah.
But so it's good to hear, but I do want to like I said, I definitely do want to have a meeting out there. I think it's very impactful. You don't think about it. I was talking to a friend on the way over here, and saying, "Hey, we're going to meet with Kiddy Up Ranch," and I always knew because of you. That's the only reason I knew.
Yeah.
Was because of the relationship. I really never knew everything that you did, and then when I hear you talking about it, it hits home with a lot of stuff too, especially with that story because my daughter is visually impaired. So I'm like, oh well, that would probably be helpful for her, to go there, just even, all the the physicality of it, even saddling a horse, all that stuff. It helps, just with your concentration. So yeah, we definitely need to get over there and put some support behind it as well. What's the biggest need though? So I've heard like feed and all the what's the biggest need right now?
Our feed and hay bill, that's over $2,000 a week.
A week.
A week.
Wow.
Just to feed.
And Jackie talks about horses, and
I know.
that's the thing. I know. Talking to me about the meeting yesterday. Yeah,
Jackie. And she, I hear she says it in jest a lot. She's like, "Yeah, I have horses, so I'm broke. I get it. It's
because not only do you have the feed and hay, they have their farrier, they have to get their teeth fitted, they have their vaccinations and their coggins, and all of the different things. Their lameness issues or a hurt back, and you have to take care of them. And we have over 50 head of horses, and people go, "Holy cow, you have so many horses." Yes, but I have 160 kids. So I have 160 participants, and the mental health of the horse is just as important to us as the mental health of the student or the participant who's come. So if we see that horse is starting to get agitated, guess what? We're going to let them go to pasture and be a horse and not have to worry about being cinched up 3 times a day or whatever. We just let them go be a horse, because that is equally as important to us. Because if you have horses that are just agitated all the time, and now we do have a little bit of an older herd, so you really get to see that a little bit more. They're tired.
Yeah.
Forgive me for my ignorance because I just don't know.
Sure.
So obviously it's there for therapy reasons. Do you do like leisure horseback riding too, or do people just come there to do like a horseback ride?
We don't right now. Just for the reason that we don't have this space. Kiddy Up has some things working.
I'm just thinking revenue, you know, if you run that
Yeah.
through this, you know, through the company or through the 501,
Yeah,
and that's just a revenue stream because so many people are looking
we
at
just
that
don't have
versus
to support a trail.
A trail
ride.
ride.
We are busting out of the seams right now, you know. A great need is land,
Yeah.
just because we really are. We have a dressage arena, we have a speed arena, we have a therapeutic riding arena, we've got barrels. We teach kids how to sort cows and pen cows and rope, and it's everything.
So what about just that for, I'm trying to say this without trying to be politically correct. So you have, all right, so you have handicapped
Mhm.
individuals, that's just a real term. And then you have your, I don't want to say normal either, but you have kids that aren't handicapped. And then, but that would be a revenue stream, because I would say you could market it and say, I'm sorry, my marketing mind turns on. So you have an abundance of people in Trinity, abundance of people in Odessa, Lutz, that don't have access to horses. And now you could be teaching those things for high paying parents that would love to see their kid learn those things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that would be completely separate entity, no? To help feed the 501c. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
We can have a private conversation off there. I'm just saying.
Well,
No,
hopefully
we're very-
something's in the works.
we're very diverse. You know, the main thing is being able to facilitate it and to
Right.
facilitate it safely.
Right.
That's a whole nother thing, you know. So for example, like yesterday, we had 33 participants yesterday, you know, with all different needs.
Gotcha.
So we do have those ones who just want to learn. Take Mr. Jim, for example, our veteran.
Mhm.
He just wants to learn to ride so he can go do his thing
Yeah.
in Georgia, you know. So he comes in and we're able to do that with him, but to be able to send like a group off to just ride without instructional base, we just don't have it. I'm gonna say the word yet. Yet. So that's in the works. Another thing that we have in the works too is bringing Kiddy Up Ranch into the inner city to be able to impact the kids who would never have the opportunity to do something like this. And so that's something that we're working on for this year.
Well, I would love to help you, especially from the marketing standpoint, just to get the brand and get the name out there. We would love to help you for free. Obviously, just get the word, spread it to the masses. We have a pretty sizable network to get your message out there. So I definitely want to do that for sure.
That's awesome.
Because everyone just needs to know about it.
Thank you.
It's that simple.
Yeah, like
You told me.
hopefully this helps a lot.
I
but
hope so
like,
too.
like-
No, I hope so too.
And I'm not kidding. Doug is the exact same.
Yeah.
He is, you know, you two found each other. Yeah, that's
How many times have we said, Tanner, and even in business, you're one phone call or one client away from a shift in your business or your organization. And it could be as simple as someone seeing it on here, or who knows where this might lead. You know, you never know. But the goal is definitely to help. So
And I appreciate the awareness, you know, one
Yeah.
of the things, you know, everybody will say, oh, you need to be out there and in the meetings, and I want to get out in the meetings and I want to go do all of the chamber stuff.
Mhm.
But, you know, when you're at a ranch, you know, you plan for what you think you're going to do that day. And then there's the reality of what you're going to do that day.
just the ranch upkeep is so much, let alone shifting your mindset then to be able to help
It is.
kids and then taking 30 plus kids a day. It's
And we not only, you know, going back to the parent, you know, what we try to do at the ranch is to provide respite at the ranch for them too. So when you come in, you're greeted by some horses in the front, which they always get that hello.
Right.
And then you're going to pass by our market, which we put the market there during COVID. For the first time in 10 years, we had to close the doors.
Wow.
That was devastating, not only for us, but for our kids. So we did like a drive-through petting zoo, and then we opened the market to support the other small businesses out there who also needed to be able to have a livelihood during that time. So, you know, your dairy farmer or your soap maker or your jam and jelly maker, you know, whatever. And so we brought all of those things in. So we have a farmer's market at the ranch. And then, of course, we have the playgrounds and, you know, a parent pavilion, you know, things where parents just get to kind of roam around. We have parents who work out in the parking lot and make a lap around the pastures. Yeah.
And not just the plug, but her market is amazing. And like she said, this is people in the community making stuff. This is not like the junk you buy at the supermarket. This is
Yeah.
real organic. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do, we do seasonal gardening. And we get the kids in the garden. So we have kids who may not want to ever eat a fruit, but we'll take them by horseback through the blueberries and their mouths are filled with blueberries and their parents are like, oh my God, how did you get them to eat a berry? I'm like, put them on a horse, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah.
This is a good one.
This is
All right, so we know how to get a hold of you now through the website. Where is it?
So we are on Denton and Mattis Road. So literally if you were going down Little Road, before you get to the county office, you turn right on Mattis Road and all the way to the end. 15232 Mattis Road.
523.
Or as Siri would say, Matisse.
Matisse.
Matisse Road.
Yeah.
Matisse Road.
That's funny. So what do you think of the podcast room?
I love it. I told Tanner, I said, you truly have a green room.
This is new. I walked in, of course, almost late. I was there. The headphones were on. I was walking in. We were in the countdown. It's here. But this is new with the I like the shading.
Yeah.
With the little I like that.
Like Carol, I think we might even do like different like colors and stuff.
We should. I'm sorry. We're gonna come up with something new. Make it almost like a side table.
Picture
Right here. It's so dude. That's funny.
Yeah.
We should donate it to the Kiddy Up Ranch.
Yeah.
For photos. There you go. There you go. But that's great. We're marketing on the Kiddy Up Ranch. That's great. Anything else, Tammy?
No, other than just, I hope people got to see just how incredible a person Tammy is.
Just the
Doesn't
glimpse of it.
here, but what they do for the community, they don't tell anybody. So that's why I'm trying to.
Do you put your stuff out on social media a lot? Do you put pictures and videos?
Kitty Up page and under Kitty Up Therapeutic Writing. We do a lot of our stuff there. Again, a big goal of mine is to get out into the community a little bit more. But we're busy doing the work, that I do have to say, and the support that we have from our staff and our volunteers. If there's one thing I want to do today is give a shout out to our volunteers.
Yes.
If it
It's
wasn't
easy to talk about it or even to donate. Actually going out there, people that make it happen.
the heart of the volunteer is so golden. And I have volunteers who have been with me for nearly 10 years. Ed and Barb Kennedy have been a part of us for nearly 10 years. Lyle has been a part of us for 10 years. It's just amazing the longevity of them volunteering and giving of their time. They don't have to do it. They do it. They show up. And, they're so dependable. And they do it without complaint. And it's just amazing to see someone show up who doesn't have to be there. They just truly want to be there, and then they work their butts off.
Yeah.
And so we are just so grateful for the volunteers and for our staff. Our staff does a lot, they're there on their off time. They're there on that extra time, and they think about our kids, outside of their clocked in time, and so we are very blessed with a really great team.
Do kids from high school volunteer?
Yeah, because they can get their right future hours with us. Yeah.
That's a big deal.
They get their right features. And even kids who have community service hours, we allow them to come depending, because obviously there's not enough, that's not good. But I had a kid that was there the other day doing some stuff, and I said, "What are you here for?" I punched a kid. I was like, "Why'd you punch a kid?" And then I
You deserve it though.
the more that you get to know the kid that's classified as the bully that actually got suspended was the kid that was protecting the other kid from being bullied.
Yeah, the school doesn't care anymore.
You can't talk.
I wish there was some kind of, like, if they really analyze it. I understand hitting's wrong, but if you're a child that steps up and protects someone, you should be hailed as a hero in that school.
I'm gonna teach my kid.
You know what I told him though? I said, that's where you learn the word pause. I said, because at the end of the day, you're the one picking up poop. You know, so.
That should be the warning at school. If you punch, there's a possibility you're gonna be picking up poop.
Punch equals poop.
I should t-shirt down a fist equals emoji poop emoji. At Kiddy Up Ranch. We'll sell t-shirts all day.
It's going.
And he implements it too. We could do it. T-shirts are coming.
Bring about your daughters a little bit, especially you. Because I love it.
Questions online too, so go ahead. Talk about your daughter.
Adrian Sliger, and I have a grandson finally. He is our pride and joy, which we have a tiny traverse, the little ones. But Alexa, two. They start at 2. Yep. And they tack, right? Yes. And they learn how to lead horses. So we work a lot of the miniatures with them.
I remember when Royce was able to do that, and he still talks about it. And I bring up memories on my phone, and he loves watching them. Brushing, yeah.
But my oldest daughter so she was a Florida State University collegiate diver. And then, but when she got her hands on the barbell, that changed her work. So she just got back from Qatar, and she was on the USA team representing the United States. So she, yeah, so it's something seeing your it's my little girl, you know, putting a couple 100 pounds over her head like that, you know. So yeah, so she's amazing, you know. I always say to her, I always tease her, I'm like, are we gonna put the barbell away and bring out cribs anytime soon? So I really like this Nana thing. I'm enjoying being a grandmother. And then my middle daughter, she is a nurse. And then my youngest daughter is in school to be a medical esthetician. So
3 daughters.
I have 3 daughters.
You share
Yeah. And you know, those 3 girls have given their mom up in a way that, you know, they have watched us serve all of these other children. And, you know, nobody knows that, you know, my day begins with talking to them, my day ends with talking to them, and anything else in between. But, you know, being a mom of 3 girls and watching them grow into the independent women who are out there making a difference in the world too, you know, they make me so
That's
proud.
awesome.
Yeah.
So
Let me ask you, and I don't ever want to cross boundaries, but doing that and all the time that you had to give to other children, was there ever any jealousy with the kids? Like, you spend all this time.
I think there was.
Yeah.
And you know what my daughters didn't realize is that there was a part of my heart that broke for that too, you know. But now I get to see them doing the same thing. They're out there serving, they're out there wanting to help other people and making a difference, you know. And so yeah, and if I could go back now, when they were younger, I had the privilege to stay home with my girls. And so I am forever grateful for that opportunity. You know, Erica getting to stay, I'm telling you, that's life-changing. Not only for your children, but for her too. And I have that opportunity. But to see them now just out there in the world making a difference. And I'm sure that there was times that they had that, you know, that they felt that inside. But they've always just been rock stars themselves.
I bring it up because it's a conversation at my house.
Sure.
Even if you're there, you gotta do the job with that person. You know, you gotta bring it in. It's a balance.
It is. And they will get to an age where they understand, but you know, you have to make that time. To say that I did great at that all the time, I did not. But to say, you know, it's, yeah, your kids are everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same situation with my dad too. He had to work a lot. He had multiple locations. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, but then I think that instilled that into me too. You know what I mean? That being able to work and
you know what's difficult about kids today though? Like our generation, Aaron's a little younger. Even with you though, with your dad, because your dad's from that generation. That was just life. Mom and they worked.
Yeah.
Dad worked.
Yeah.
Or mom was home with help, whatever, or mom worked, whatever. That was his life. I feel like kids today, it's like, either they're educated more, they're teaching them more at school or whatever it is. There's like, they're more, I guess, they're open more. They talk about it more. They ask the questions. Well, I never would have questioned my father. That was just what my dad did. And my kids are like, Dad, what's up? I'm like, and I've raised them the same way.
Yeah.
You know, but they recognize him. I think it's because of this, though.
Yeah.
I think because they see
Other people doing it.
My kids, they're like that. I might have to block them from my page because they're like, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, and they're like, when are you gonna be home? I'm like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
it's tough.
It is. Some of the barn brats, especially, they've clinged to the ranch for whatever reason or another, and they've clinged to Doug and I. And Doug was adopted, so he really, really, really just has this instant connection with kids who have been adopted too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's like without even saying it, they just do together, right? And so they want to be around, and they're in our home, and we cook with them and whatever. And I can't help but look at my kids and go, does that bother them? But even my girls have embraced them. Yeah. And then these children look at my three and go, okay, I want my house to look like that. On New Year's Day, I took a few of them with me. I cooked the New Year's, meal, the Southern tradition, meal, and went and delivered it to all three of my children. Mm. And I took the barn brats with me to go to their houses. And they're like, my goodness, Tammy, their houses are so clean, and, all of this. And it inspired them to be self-sufficient and to have their own homes and to, keep a nice home. Right. And so
that was you regimented. We clean the room, we make our beds. Like
college. She goes, do you want to know what I'm doing right now? I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, well, first of all my friends are out going to the beach, and I'm scrubbing my tile floor. Why? Because you are in my head telling me that I needed to clean my house before I left.
So my mom was the kind of person that we had to clean before a cleaning lady would come over.
That's a woman thing. Mary, I think it's a woman thing.
I would argue with her. I'm like, it ain't worth arguing.
Cleaning person's coming. Yeah.
My mom, I've never seen my mom sweat so much. She's scrubbing stuff. Like, Mom, it's all clean now. That's serious. My mom didn't sweat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, that's the kind of person she is too.
It's 10:59. It's time to wrap this up, but I want to say it was literally awesome meeting you in person. So fantastic, and I definitely want to do more with you. We're going to get a whole bunch of businesses out there and meetings out there to show who you are, so then they could showcase who you are. I think that'll be great. Yes. Thank you for the connection. And Terry, you want to talk about the home show really quick?
Oh yeah, sure. Home show this Friday.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow, buddy.
I got to even know what day it is. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yep.
Tomorrow, noon to 4. Saturday.
We're both looking at each other like we know, but we don't know.
Yeah.
It's 12 to 4 on Saturday. And guys, this is a great opportunity to come out and press the flesh and meet all the contractors and the vendors face to face. Like you see them here, but you get to see them face to face, shake their hand, ask about their business, and it's free to the public. And kind of talk about that really quick in the next 30 seconds of why. Like you're like, hey, we did this for the community.
So
it's not a money maker.
County doesn't have something like this, right?
No.
So it was a big need. If you wanted to deal with, go to a home show, you're got to go to Prop, St. Pete. Pasco County, we're a large county. We should have something like that and do this. And these are local contractors, so it's really good for the contractors, because they can network.
Yep.
But most importantly, you're dealing as a community member, you're dealing with a local contractor that's going to give you a good price that, is embedded in this community that wants to help the community. And we did it for virtually nothing for these guys.
True.
So, true. And there was a reason for that. We wanted to guys, instead of, paying a bunch of money, not being able to really give good deals to our community, a lot of these guys are instead offering either great deals or, we're giving $500 back in a raffle.
I mean, home shows in general, Tanner, it's $1,000 just to have.
I know.
Not this one.
Yeah,
It's $1,000 just to go to the home show for the trade, and then
there was no excuses for a
Right.
trade to really not be in it.
right. So this was very inexpensive. I think $250. I believe.
Wow.
Yep, to 250, and you're able to network with all these individuals. And like you said, it's here, it's local, it's the people that are here in the community. So this gave an opportunity to the business owners that don't want to, or that don't have the 1,000, or didn't have that budget to pay that, and they're able to do that now. So there's business owners, this will be their first home show, and like we got
Yeah,
a lot of that.
That's what,
Oh,
yeah,
that was cool. It was like,
which
this
is
my
cool.
first home
I
show.
remember my first home
It's
show.
intimidating.
It is.
Right,
And then once you do it, you realize the value in it.
right.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of these local contractors didn't want to go to Tampa, didn't
Yeah.
want to go to St. Pete.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So this gives them a chance to get their feet wet,
Yep.
connect with their community, you know, be beneficial for our community and our local businesses.
Yep.
And the best part is what?
Charity.
Charity.
It's going to
That's
charity.
amazing.
Yes.
So the proceeds,
everything.
yeah, proceeds are all going back, everything, going back to charity. We have the Wrap House.
Yep.
And then
Pasco Kids First.
Pasco Kids First. Thank you.
That's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
all going
Yeah,
back.
great.
That's what-
Yes, they are. Really.
Most home shows, that's a moneymaker.
They do it for themselves. Like,
Yeah, it's not going to be that. So we're really excited about that. So don't forget, that's at the Newport Richie Rec Center tomorrow and Saturday. Thank you, Kiddy Up Ranch. Thank you, RJ Kielty, Mr. Tanner. And we will see you guys soon next week. Carol's not here. She had to leave and go do something. So now I have to awkwardly get off the camera and let's figure out how to set this off. See you later.
He's got
Here. And we're still, remember, we're still alive right now. Wait, and that's it.